15 minutes of heat here for you on 560 WQAM. Your Miami Heat, they lost on Saturday to the Milwaukee Bucks, 123-115 to finish their road trip 1-3. And that, kind of goes back to that whole Charlotte game. That's why, you don't love to have a 500 trip. Don't lose to one of the worst teams in the league.
Yep.
Good game. I mean, good game for the most part. Very competitive, back and forth between the Heat and the Bucks. It did feel very much in that last 3 minutes, though. The Bucks kind of just shut bleep down on Miami and came with some big stops. God, the Heat have no shooting. It's very frustrating because it's like you get outshot like 14-8 on the 3-pointers, and you have to work so damn hard to bring it back and make it even. And they just, eventually you run out of, eventually they hit a couple of key threes, you run out of time.
You think that having to play that the way they're playing to stay in some of these games because they're not making threes is going to wear them down?
Maybe. I can't rule it out, Leroy. It might.
They just look exhausted playing defense. And it just seems so backbreaking to play defense for 23 seconds and somebody launches a 3 and makes it right at the end of the clock. And it just looks like it sucks the life out of these guys.
Yeah, and Giannis was a monster. He had a triple-double, as he is. And he went to the free throw line 17 times. They really had nothing for him. And it's interesting because, you talk about the team that was like the architect of being the Giannis stoppers and building that wall. And it's tough because it's like, you have him out there and you just don't have the bulk that you did in the other series against him. And, it is an eye opener because we're in trade deadline week and this team, now Kyle didn't play, not that he's been doing much anyway, and Vic didn't play. So maybe you could say, well, Victor Oladipo could have made a difference in that. But I watch that team and I look at them and I say, man, look at all the guys they can throw on Jimmy Butler. Between Drew, between Wesley Matthews, between Jan, between all these guys they could throw and exhaust Jimmy Butler, who had 32 points going into the fourth, finished the game with 32 points. Right. They didn't score a bucket in the fourth quarter. I almost feel like the roles are reversed right now when it comes to Giannis and Jimmy. And yeah, they're going to come out of that. And I don't know how the Heat front office could look at that game, look at that road trip, and feel like they have enough to truly compete in this postseason, right? I don't know how they could do that. And I don't know what the move is, but man, it feels like by Thursday, if their lone move is adding Omer Yurtseven, they're going to be severely outgunned going into this playoffs.
Well, they need size. And they need it for no other reason other than whoever they pick for that size to be, whether it's Big Yurt or somebody else, it needs to take some of the pressure off of the other 4 guys on the floor because everybody is exhausted. I mean, they're working their butts off.
Right. And everybody's answer for this is always, well, Jimmy doesn't come in until there's, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. What do you want? So he's going to play the whole fourth quarter? Like he plays the whole third quarter. That's his rotation. He plays the whole third quarter. He scored 17 points. You try and man the ship so he can go and give you that run in the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's what he does. That's what Spo's rotation is with him. I mean,
you can exhaust him even more, and then when you get to the last 2 minutes, you got nothing.
So it was a disappointing loss for sure. Milwaukee's good. There's no shame in losing to Milwaukee. They're a game back of being 1 in the East. They got Middleton back. Middleton was awesome. Like that's the big thing with them is like, they really haven't had Middleton this year, and they're going to be able to say, we're getting Middleton at the trade deadline. We're getting him healthy. He was tremendous. That's like, you're adding an all-star. That's huge for them.
Right.
The Heat's lone addition, it can't be Big Yurt. I like Big Yurt. Don't get me wrong. It'll help. But
wait. Can I have you changed your, because I've been saying this all year and you have been saying, no, they have enough.
That's not what I said. I've never said that.
What have you said? We have enough size.
That's not what I've said. I've never said that. I've never disagreed with you that they need size.
Sounds like you.
No. What he likes
Oh my goodness.
Hold on,
Are you
hold on.
serious?
Hold on.
Are you serious?
Hold on.
Sounds like something you'd say.
It's
Oh
not what I
my
said.
goodness.
I
It's
don't
not
know.
what I've said. I've never said that.
I don't know.
I've never
Tobin.
said that. I've literally never said that, Leroy.
Tobin.
Prove it.
The only thing you and I have argued about is you argue is Bam's not a 5. He's not a 5. I've never disagreed that they need more size. I've never said that.
I don't know.
Oh man.
I've never said that. I've
know,
literally
dude.
never said that.
I've been begging for another big.
Mm-hmm.
If we've asked like, what do you think they need more? Do you think they need more size or more shooting? I think I said I think they need shooting. They don't have. If you
They
told
have
me what
shooting, they're just not making
they don't
shots.
have
You
shooting.
can't
No.
keep turning
Guess
that
what,
over.
dude? No, dude. You don't get to go 75% through the season and not shoot and say you have shooting. You don't get to say that. It's over.
But look at here. So you're looking at a situation where they paid a lot of guys who shoot.
Hmm? Who don't shoot. So what?
All right.
They don't have shooting. They don't have shooting. If you can have,
It just goes away like that.
You have theoretical. How much of those? Hold on. Let me say something. They were a good shooting team last regular season. They were the worst shooting team in the playoffs, and they've been the worst shooting team in the league this year. So when does it happen? You're essentially talking 8 months of not shooting the 3 with the same team. Do you have shooters? The last time I saw them shoot, Duncan Robinson, he was the 3-star bunny on Easter, game 1 against the Hawks. That's the last time they shot the basketball well.
That was fun.
That was. So unless Duncan Robinson's going to come off of this injury, assuming he's still on the Heat, although I don't know who wants, $60 million of Duncan Robinson right now. Why do I believe they have shooting? They don't. They don't.
I'm more along the lines of they have shooting, they're just not making shots.
All right, cool. Well, you're adorable. Thank you for that.
I mean, they paid for shooting.
They paid for shooting. All right. But it's kind of like when you paid for that car and it took like 9 months for it to get there. I paid for a car. Is it here? I'm using a loaner to get to work. Like, great. But yeah, it's frustrating. And then, on top of that, you're paying Duncan Robinson. He doesn't shoot. He's hurt. Kyle Lowry's now got a knee problem. Doesn't play in the last game. Doesn't play in fourth quarters. You owe him $30 million next year. So yeah, I think I get why the Heat fan was frustrated with the whole not getting into the game for Kyrie Irving. Now here's the thing with it. The local reporting out of this was, well, the Heat weren't interested. The Heat had some trepidations about bringing in Kyrie, culture fit. I don't buy it. Here's what I think. Nobody wants their stuff. Because if you're not giving up, I'm serious about this. If you're the Heat, and I don't think you should trade Tyler Hero for Kyrie Irving. Tyler Hero's 23. You have him. I'm not trading Tyler Hero for Kyrie Irving. So you look at the rest of the Heat stuff. Tell me what's attractive. Okay, Victor Oladipo, Caleb Martin. Okay, now everybody was sitting here thinking that, you're going to trade Kyle Lowry and a bag of chips to get Kyrie Irving. No, that's not going to happen. You're not going to. What team is pulling the trigger on that?
Right.
Who wants that stuff? So what you do is you spin it like, I don't know if Kyrie Irving is a culture fit. Okay, well, I have your best player on the record saying a few years ago the player he'd most like to play with in the league is Kyrie Irving. I have your second best player in Bam Adebayo, who Kyrie Irving has known since he's 12 and has a good relationship with. So you tell me, if those two guys get along with him, and you think that Tyler Hero would hate playing with a guy of his skill set? So you tell me what the culture unrest would be, the culture fit would be. And I tell you, nah, I just don't think they had the horses to trade for him. That's what I think. Now, it could have been argued that they had that in the summer because they told Kyle Lowry, we're not going to trade you for Kyrie Irving. Before this season of Kyle Lowry happened, maybe you could have convinced the Nets, hey, little swappy swap. But when you watch Kyle Lowry this year, what team is trading for him? What team is trading for him and owes him $30 million next year? Let's be real about it. He's a single-digit scorer He's old, and he's owed $30 million next year.
Single.
Yeah. Who wants that on the trade market? Who are you getting for that? Like, I don't know what the Heat fan thought. They thought that they were going to hold Sean Marks' feet to the fire and be like, you take that Lowry, you take those intangibles next to KD, samesies. No, dude. Like Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, you can play those guys in the playoffs. I don't know if you can play Kyle Lowry in the playoffs. That's how bad he's been. Maybe it's a knee. Maybe it's age. I don't know. But this idea that, we don't think he's quite the fit. No, I think the Nets probably looked at your roster and be like, you know what? I don't think it's quite a fit. Unless you're giving us Hero. Are you giving us Tyler Hero? Then it'll be a fit. And I'm not trading Hero for Kyrie Irving. So I think that was the discussion. I think it was over at that point. If you're not trading Bam, you're not trading Tyler, and you're not trading Jimmy Butler for Kyrie Irving, then who the hell do they want?
So you're saying this team is poorly constructed?
I'm not saying it's poorly constructed. It's just I don't know how many assets that they have really for a star player. I don't know. Even like Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. Great guys. Guess what? They're free agents. So anybody who brings them in is going to have to pay them next year. So you don't have any of these guys.
They already have a Max Strus. Joe Smith?
Joe Harris.
You
just gave him a random guy's name for.
I got the
I
Joe
mean, it's
right.
not that far away.
Yeah, I got the Joe right. Come on.
It's a Joe Harris. Yeah.
Joe Harris. So they already got Max Strus.
But even if you want to say, oh, hey, we'll throw in Max Strus. Okay. But we got to pay him next year. You're getting, it's not like you're getting Max Strus and like you have him locked down for a few years on the cheap.
Right.
It's like, no, you get Max Strus and also like Max Strus last year, asset. You have him a year on the minimum. That's great. Next year, like you got to pay Max Strus $15 million. I don't know how many teams are feeling that, especially with the way he's shooting this year.
That's not a lot in basketball.
It's not a lot in basketball, Leroy, but I think a lot of people are probably looking at the Heat lately, and they're seeing all these undrafted guys that they can turn into certain years, and thinking like, how much do we really believe that those guys are gonna be at the level of those contracts? Because the Heat are already seeing it with Duncan Robinson, and they're getting bit in the ass by it. How many teams are looking at Gabe Vincent or Max Strus and saying, man, we give that guy X amount of dollars for this many years, and we think it's really going to pay off.
I mean, look at Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, nothing. Look at Hassan. Any of these guys. It's tough when they leave the culture hub and they go elsewhere. Who are the guys who have worked out? Who? Derek Jones Jr.? Josh Richardson? Justice Winslow? These aren't even the undrafted guys. I'm like, not many guys leave here, and you're like, whoo. They took. Patrick Beverly's probably the last guy.
Say Patrick Beverly?
Yeah, and he didn't even make a roster. So I think when the Heat put that narrative out to the local reporters, oh yeah, Kyrie's not a fit. Nah, dude, you don't want to trade your top three guys for him, which I respect. I wouldn't do it either. But what else do you have after that? I would say probably your most attractive pieces are Vic and Caleb Martin. But I don't know. Vic, Caleb Martin, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, I don't know. I mean, the Nets. And then here's the other thing with the Nets. You're let's say they're equal assets. They've already shown you they're pettily not going to give them to the Lakers, allegedly, reportedly. You're going to trade Kyrie Irving to a potential playoff matchup for basically samesies? Would you do that, Leroy?
No.
Or would you trade him to a team that maybe you'll face in the finals? All things being awesome for both of us. Would you trade him to a team that you could maybe face in the first round? No way. So I'm just saying, I don't believe the whole culture reporting thing. I think that's bogus. Window dressing. Old Tobes, guess what? Not passing the old smell test. And this nose can smell. Look at it.
Now all of a sudden you're a bomb sniffing dog.
Look at it. Doesn't pass. Here, this right here, this is the report that Kyrie Irving doesn't fit the Heat culture. Doesn't pass it.
I don't
Sorry.
like it. I really don't like it.
Dude, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Doesn't pass the smell test, dude. Oh man. But we did get some big news this weekend. All right. Perhaps the biggest news in the old world of Toe.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get to that coming on up. But before that, I do want to say play one last thing before we get. Would you like to hear Jimmy Butler's thoughts on not making the All-Star team?
Yes.
Here is Jimmy Buckets on not going to Utah.
Me, no All-Star? Man, please. I see y'all when I see y'all. But Bam does deserve that. He's been carrying the load a lot this year. I'm happy for him. As for me, I'm happy I get a vacation, baby.
It's like,
Is there any player who cares less about
No.
All-Star weekend?
I think Jimmy's like, oh, great. I made the All-Star. Check that off the box. Now I'm done.